It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Meloni.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. If you're finding me on the airs for the first time, you'll catch me here Mondays through Fridays at 8 a.m. on That Business Show with Jamie Meloni. Take a minute to direct you over to my website, tampabayradio.com, where you can catch a lot of information on the show, past guests, as well as show recaps, and also listen to prior shows. And also, I'm a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, and you can see all of my property listings as well as many of my pre-listed properties over there. Been in business 7 years and sold about 1,300 properties, and I'm a bank foreclosure specialist, so I'm a great source for real estate investment properties. So please reach out to me, tampabayradio.com. Got a great show planned for you today. On the first half of the show, we're going to be talking with Turner Bank turnaround specialist Chandila Fernando and ghostwriter Karen Rowe. Chandila is the turnaround specialist, enabling countries to clear bad debt and thrive in today's geopolitical climate. After starting a cell phone company at the age of 19 and losing his shirt in a series of other businesses and watching the family's financial independence evaporate in 2008, Chandila recognized that bad debt disempowers people. He became the CEO of the UK's #1 aeromedical business and that held 80% market share, and worked with the government of Sri Lanka and advised a former prime minister's office all before the age of 40. He is an aviation banking specialist and author of the upcoming book, Flying Low. Let's go and bring in Chandila Fernando. How are you doing, Chandila?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for inviting me, Jamie.
Thank you very much. And I'm also joined in studio, Karen Rowe, ghostwriter, who also helped you write this book, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's actually all her intelligence. I just showed up.
Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, and thanks for stopping by and joining Chandila in studio today. So first, Chandila, let's get a little bit more background about you. I mean, this is, your introduction here is very impressive. I mean, you worked, with the government of Sri Lanka. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So, with the government of Sri Lanka, during the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, one of their key priorities, despite a civil conflict, was to increase the amount of foreign investment into the country. So it's a balance between hot money flowing in and at the same time long-term meaningful investment. In other words, multinational corporations putting down roots in a new market. So I worked with a team that was all geared towards pitching towards CEOs, chairmen of very large corporations about the benefits of locating in Sri Lanka and then accessing the Indian market, because India is over 1 billion people. There are various cultural and geographic synergies, so it was all to do with positioning Sri Lanka as a gateway to India. And that worked very well. It resulted a few years later in what's known as the Indo-SL Free Trade Agreement, where blue chip companies would locate in Sri Lanka and export to India. And then one of the most signature things that we were responsible for was the Marks and Spencer's first green factory in the world is actually in Sri Lanka. So it runs entirely on environmentally friendly products.
Very interesting. Now, first of all, what is the background of what is your education? How did you even, get to positions like that? So where's your fields of study?
So I think on one level, it's this hard knocks and the school of life. And on another, I studied political science, and I come from a family that has always been interested in the world of politics. And law specifically, so I'm the only person who didn't want to become a lawyer, and hopefully that won't be held against me.
Yeah,
but
don't
still,
say that. I got a lot of lawyers right now.
Well, hopefully that won't be held against me, but anyway. So that was really a turning point for me. I'd always been around politicians. I've been very privileged in my life to have met many world leaders, so it was this whole big picture thinking that drove me down that route. And as a child, I have to thank my mother immensely for saying, look, if you can think it, do it. So everything that I've ever done has always been about aiming for the moon and the stars and then falling somewhere between Earth and that. So really, I mean, there isn't much science to it. It's pure hard graft, determination and willingness to make the effort and enjoy every day for what it is. I do think that failure is a fantastic tutor. And I think in America you have a culture, a business culture, which is accepting of that. Mm-hmm. In Europe you have a scenario whereby failure, particularly in London, I would say, or in England where I was born, it's not as embracing of that. So I think America gives you this freedom to try things, to get things wrong, and to come back from it.
Are you saying there's less, entrepreneurship in London? You're saying there's more a culture of non-acceptance of the failure there?
I think there is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship exists all around the world. I think the distinction between, particularly from my personal perspective and experiences, between the UK and the USA is that in the USA they will ask you how you're going to do something, and in London they will question why you want to do it. So I think there's a very, very big distinction there. And secondly, you have so many sort of corporate American heroes. Even I know Donald Trump is probably not the best example, but going bust nearly 3 times and still staying on top of a property portfolio in whatever shape or form. Shows that you can come back. You can be a phoenix here, and I think that's hugely important, because the margins between success and failure in entrepreneurship or in business generally are much thinner than people think.
Now, tell me about the company that you started at age 19, a cell phone company. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I was fairly restless. I didn't really want to go to university. My mother was adamant that I should. As you can see, the theme of my mum being a very dominant force in my life is actually very true. Mum, wherever you are, you can hear this. So I wanted to go into business. I loved sales and marketing. Telephones were, mobile telephones, or cell phones as you call them here, in the late 90s in England were all the rage. It was about the deal. It's what you actually have here now, the emergence of several networks, the emergence of different retailers and distributors. So in England in the late 90s, that's what was happening. So I figured that if I could get an office, hire 3 people, and then stack them high and sell them cheap, it would work. So we went from 0 to about $500,000 turnover in 6 months. My 3 employees were 20 years older than me. I didn't have the first clue about management, other than if I sold something and I led by example, I figured that would work. I begged, borrowed, and stole in terms of stock, material, promotional material, and I also managed to befriend the local distributor for a specific network to give me discounted prices, even though he had an RRP which he couldn't break. And that's how I started it.
And what was the end result of the business?
So what happened was I had to choose between going to university and running the business. So I sold my database, I sold my inventory, and I sold a distribution agreement to the guy who actually gave me the stock in the first place. It was a great learning experience. I really loved that, because I was just, sort of a free-flying maverick. And it was my first taste of, creditors, managing budgets, looking after people who were much older than me, and actually having a responsible approach to their needs.
So that was a successful venture then for you, the first venture?
That was successful, yes.
Now, you mentioned you've lost your shirt in a number of other businesses. What are some of the other businesses that didn't quite work out for you?
Yeah, don't fall in love with the idea of owning a nightclub, bar, and restaurant.
Oh, don't say that. That's my next business idea. I want to do a club so bad. Oh, man.
So, I mean, people will either think this is incredibly fictitious or like a Harry Potter story, but in essence, from dealing with the mob to tough suppliers to staff who don't cooperate, people who steal food, customers who threaten you with your life, that was really the nightclub, bar, and restaurant world. I mean, on one hand, Karen, it's another book, by the way.
Sounds like your next book.
So it's fascinating, it's exhilarating, and at the same time, there are enormous lows. Once you see, you take it very personally when you see things stolen from you, because you feel it's a part of you that's been taken.
Where did you open the nightclub at? Where was this at?
So I grew up in a place called Leicester, in the middle of England. It's actually physically in the middle of England, and I had 4 other partners in it, and we figured, although my parents are originally from Sri Lanka, the Bollywood cinema industry is huge. So for a twist of fate, I thought that Planet Bollywood, sit back, relax, and enjoy the lifestyle of a film star could work. So we had a first floor premises with a separate nightclub area, bar, and dining area. And at the same time, ironically, one of my classmates from high school, he opened a place, which actually today is doing about 5 million in turnover a year, but I don't have a restaurant anymore, so it's a good reminder. And we actually acquired, the restaurant was in liquidation. We acquired that for next to nothing, and then capitalized the business, put in some new interior, and then started marketing. of course, we effectively entered a restaurant war because in terms of food outlets, there were 18 others on the same road that were competing with us. Because the road that we were on was known, and still is known, as the Curry Mile.
Why do you think that business didn't succeed? What did you not plan properly, or what happened to you that you just didn't anticipate?
Partnership.
You had bad partnerships and
very bad partnerships, because I think my motivation was to make the business a success,
right? At
all costs, effectively.
And your partners just wanted to party or something, maybe?
Well, one or two just thought it was an excuse for adolescent misadventure, and others really didn't appreciate that, you know, being in this 24/7, 6 to 7 days a week. Is punishing on a family life. I mean, right. I wasn't married, and I didn't have any children. So for me, doing two jobs, which is what I did, I was working with a law firm and doing this. I could do it.
Very nice. We've got to take a quick break, but if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Chandila Fernando, a bank turnaround specialist, and you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. Your loan in 12 days and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours. Cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING.
iMortgage Tampa appreciates and supports all veterans and their families. And as a thank you for your service, they have some unique products specifically for veterans. These programs include 100% cash-out loans, renovation loans, and also a VA interest rate reduction loan. Please call them today at 813-523-4908. Again, that's 813-523-4908. Or online, search for iMortgage Tampa. iMortgage NMLS 174457. Equal housing opportunity lender. Programs and eligibility subject to programs and guidelines. In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566.
This report is brought to you by iHeartMedia.
Looking for a way to increase your business? Ever thought about advertising on radio? iHeartMedia can customize a campaign to meet your specific needs. Call 844-BUY-RADIO. That's 844-BUY-RADIO. Or go to iHeartMedia.com.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center, US 19 northbound shut down at New York Avenue. Your alternate is Hudson Avenue to Little Road to get around this accident scene. 275 already slammed from 75 all the way down to Sly. It's bumper to bumper from Hillsborough into Himes Avenue. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
The rain should end by lunchtime. Then we'll have partly cloudy skies, and it will be a bit breezy this afternoon with a high of 68. Tonight, clear with a low of 47, and tomorrow, sunny skies, a high of 67.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Currently talking with Chandila Fernando, bank turnaround specialist, and Karen Rowe, who assisted him in the writing of his book, Flying Low, Saving Aviation Banking One Loan at a Time. So, Chandila, first I want to get back to the title. You call yourself a bank turnaround specialist. Tell me a little bit more about this title and why you call yourself this.
Every business that I've got involved with, whether it's been financial services or just purely a B2B type company, has always been on the turnaround airspace. So my biggest passion has been the sort of death of traditional banking relationships and the move towards, I think in America you call it the kid with the gym bag. So, you know, Wells Fargo and big and Citi and large institutions having people that sort of faceless bureaucrats who run around with laptops just entering data in and then telling a client they can't do it. Mm-hmm. So I do feel that banking has to embrace both old-fashioned relationships and new technology, and I think the balance has moved towards new technology. And just statistically, to give you an idea, at any given time in the United States of America, there are about 546 local, regional, and sort of community-based banks that are feeling the pressure, or in other words, under the watch of the FDIC on the basis that they are not well run.
Now, you're an aviation banking specialist. Mm-hmm. How did you get into this field? And talk a little bit more about this industry.
So you very kindly commented on my background at the beginning of the show, saying I was CEO of an aviation business in the UK. And what led me into this aviation banking piece was the challenges that you have in the aviation industry with your banks. Collateral and liquidity run hand in hand. And aviation as a business, you know, ultimately a private jet or an airline, call it what you like, is a big elephant in the sky that needs feeding. So, you know, it's metal that flies. Mm-hmm. So the value of that metal depreciates every day. So from a purely bank-driven perspective, the collateral in an airline or in a plane per se is on a declining scale. So when it comes to risk and underwriting, or very, very simply, when you're reviewing a loan offering for an aviation-based business, you know, what underpins the business is invariably not as strong as you think it is. And that's what precipitates the challenge for bankers is, okay, I want to lend money to this client, but actually if I really look at the deal in the semantics of it, it doesn't stack up.
Now, your book, Flying Low, you written with Karen Rowe here. Now, you wrote this book in one day, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit about this from Karen. How do you write a book in one day, first of all?
Well, so I have a blueprint that I use, and I've done this now about 10 times, and Chandila is a very busy person, as you can imagine, so I really got together with him. We developed an outline, and then we followed the outline for the whole day. So it's a conversation. We record the conversation, we send the transcripts in, and I put them into the blueprint and develop the first draft of the book. So that's how it gets done in a day in short version.
Now, is this your first book out?
This will be the first book out, but it's the second book that I've written. The second book is going in a slightly different way, and that's all to do with sovereign debt restructuring, or in base terms, fixing the global deficit that is clearing bad debt in small countries. That's sort of a bugbear or a passion of mine, you could say, since the age of 17. So I think now that I'm 37, I've got a bit more grey hair. People might read that one.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about you're clearing bad debt in small countries. I mean, that's a heck of a title to put on yourself. What small countries have you worked with? I know we talked about Sri Lanka earlier.
So Sri Lanka was really the first one that I looked at, and it focused on the sort of the growth side of it. There's two elements. If you see what's going on in Greece at the moment, Greece has 240 billion pounds worth of debt, and 60% of that debt is owed to European nation states. So effectively, you know, before the Greeks wake up in the morning, they really owe the rest of Europe. So clearing the deficit or clearing the bad debt of a small country is the principal tool, in my humble opinion, to be able to kickstart a national economy. And you know, it is based on the laws of insolvency and bankruptcy, so to speak, the Chapter 11 process of renegotiating with your creditors, except the numbers are much bigger. But it's a question of how you do it, and what I feel that I'm bringing to the marketplace is a very different way of and a mechanism to do that with a more expedient but also sustainable way, because most debt repayment programs offered to countries invariably involve things like escalators. So after a period of time, the interest rate increases disproportionately to their ability to pay. Put more simply, it's like a credit card that you can only make a minimum payment on, but after a while you can't make the minimum payment because the interest rate's gone up.
And you also worked with a former prime minister's office.
Yes.
Who is this? And tell us a little bit more about this.
I can give you a description of her, but I'm not really supposed to tell you exactly who it is.
I think we could probably deduct that, but that's fine.
Yeah. So they had an interesting idea for a free trade zone within the Indian subcontinent, and also to turn a specific country into an offshore banking haven. So we put together a plan that was all to do with creating this trade zone, but also to leverage the opportunity to create a banking offshore banking haven, for the fact that if you take in India specifically, and to a lesser extent in Pakistan, there are a number of very, very large financial institutions that are unable to interact with the Western world on the basis of their economies are not fully liberalized. In other words, it's not open sesame. So in India particularly, there are significant capital restrictions because they don't want the rupee to be hugely devalued. So, there will be people who will obviously say, well, that's not true, we can export and do what have you. But in reality, the Indian economy has to be somewhat closed to protect its industries. So major corporate players in India are often, banking in different jurisdictions, whether it's Singapore, Hong Kong, Europe, or Australia, New Zealand, wherever, to facilitate transactions. So the idea was to actually create a hub or a fulfillment hub in a neighboring country, so to speak, to be able to satisfy that need.
So where do you direct your efforts today? Are you mostly a consultant to businesses, or are you just working with aviation banking specialists, or where are you directing most of your efforts today?
So yeah, that's a very good question. I have in the last sort of 6 to 9 months, I've stopped working with a number of equity clients that wanted to raise equity on the basis of concentrating on their banking airspace. We have 2 institutions under offer. And the goal is by no later than the second quarter of this year to have closed on one particular bank. And from that will be the platform that I then focus on a specific small country. So
Which, do you have a certain country in mind?
There are 3, but like anything, until it happens, you have to wait till it happens.
Now, what about just the average consumer? Are you out there available to consult the average person? Because I know you're a debt turnaround specialist. I mean,
Yeah, so typically businesses that have at least a $5 million turnover would be suitable for the kind of things that I would be able to do with them. And the reason why I say 5 million is there is a balance between what their asset coverage with or absence of asset coverage is against the turnover that they have. Less than that, it tends to be either cost prohibitive or, for example, their banking relationship. The bank would probably be more likely to pull the plug on them and let them fail. I'm not saying that's the case for all clients or prospects who are less than $5 million turnover, but the experience would dictate that.
That's quite impressive. Whatever became of the aero the aeromedical business?
So they still hold the family that owns that particular company. They still hold 80% market share in the aeromedical airspace. It's a very neat little company. And they have now branched out into a more private client offering. But at the same time, when I was with them, for the time that I was with them, I advocated a much more avant-garde strategy, which was to work with the United Nations, which we got onto their tender panel, and also to consider a partial sale of the business. So any project that I get involved with is effectively a turnaround for the next stage. It's either going to be a sale or taking on new equity or expanding into new markets. So if it doesn't fit that mold, I will then finish.
Very nice. I mean, and I got to give a testament to Karen. I mean, to write his book, I mean, it's incredibly complicated, and he's a highly intelligent individual. I mean, how do you manage all this information from just a ghostwriter's perspective?
Well, so I see my role is to take the role of the reader. So if I don't understand it, then chances are the reader won't understand it. So I really take it and translate it into terms that will be enjoyable and easy to read. That's my job. Yeah,
that's a good point, because I'm also working on my book, and I've got an editor working on it as well. And I think I overcomplicated a lot of things, and she's went through and cleaned up a lot of it. And so I think that it's definitely a value-adding thing that you can add for a writer. Great conversation. Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking with Sal Ruggiero with the Neighborhood Enhancement Division here in the City of Tampa, and also Jaeger Flooring, expert contributors to that business show. And also we'll have a little bit more with Chandila Fernando and Karen Rowe. And if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Each franchise, independently owned and operated, offer good on selected window treatments for a limited time. Minimum purchase required. Ask for details.
Hello? Hi, Stacy. It's your sister. Listen, could you, trade houses with me?
What?
Yeah, trade houses. Jim wants to have his new boss over, and your house is so beautiful with those new drapes from Budget Blinds, and we really want to impress him.
Call Budget Blinds and have your own house done. Right now, you can save hundreds of dollars on your custom window coverings.
Wow. Do they still give you a free design consultation and measure and install the window treatments for you?
Yes, and they give you their no questions asked warranty.
Gotta go. I'm calling now.
It's the Budget Blinds Window Fashion's blowout sale event with very stylish savings. Your style consultant will tell you how you can save hundreds of dollars on a huge selection of window coverings. Call 1-800-260-8939 now to get a free in-home design consultation and save. Hurry, sale ends soon. Call 1-800-260-8939. That's 1-800-260-8939.
A long weekend is just an excuse to get a long way from boring, especially in a John Deere Gator. The Gator RSX 850i with speeds up to 53 miles per hour makes every journey exciting. And the Gator XUV 825i has a 1,400-pound payload to haul your gear. Visit your John Deere dealer. Go Gator.
For 1,000 possibilities, visit EvergladesFarmEquipment.com or MyJohnDeereDealer.com.
These days, businesses have to always be on call, on site, and online. And with Regis, you'll be ready. With an unmatched local, national, and global network, Regis helps you be anywhere your business needs to be. Regis provides workspace, technology, and support staff. So whether you need a place to work for a day, a week, or even a month, Regis gets you up and running fast. Stay connected through Regis and be free to do your best work. Regis, the new way to work. Call 1-800-OFFICES now.
This report is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, as the world's fastest amputee, he runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcoming. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life.
From the Bright House Network's traffic center in Hudson, US 19 northbound at New York Avenue continues to be shut down. Your alternate is Hudson Avenue onto Little Road. 275 northbound looking slow from 375 all the way to Roosevelt Boulevard. It's slow again from the Howard Franklin to Dale Mabry, and southbound is bumper to bumper from Bierce to Sly, then from Hillsborough to Himes. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Utica Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
1250 winds weather center forecast. Starting the day cloudy, windy, and rainy. Eventually that should clear into the afternoon. A chilly day with highs in the mid-60s and overnight lows chilly as well into the upper 40s. Impact Radio 1250 winds WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Winds WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Take a moment to direct you over to my website, TampaBayRadio.com, where you can catch show recaps and past shows of That Business Show with Jamie Maloney. Just head over to the show info tab. And also you can catch past shows of my older radio show, the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. Some of y'all may remember me airing Mondays at noon, and that show went off air as of last week. And now I'm daily Mondays through Fridays here on 1250 WHNZ, promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy. So very excited to have that new role here. And I'd like to also take a moment to extend an invite to any and all business owners and entrepreneurs in the Tampa Bay region, and even nationally even. You don't necessarily have to just be in the Tampa Bay region. I want to hear from you. Come on, just shoot me a quick email, jamie@tampabayradio.com. Give me a quick pitch of your business, and there is no charge. Come on in and talk to me. I mean, I love hearing about the what's going on in Tampa Bay, and I know there's a lot of great things going on in terms of development, especially in the Channelside district and South Tampa. And I want to expose what's going on in Tampa, because now is an exciting time to be a resident of the Tampa Bay region. So please reach out to me. Send me an email, jamie@tampabayradio.com, and learn more about myself and my radio show over at tampabayradio.com. Go ahead and bring on our next guest for the second half of the hour. First in is Sal Ruggiero. After retiring from being the police department major for the City of Tampa in 2013, Sal took up the position of operations manager for the City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Division. The Neighborhood Enhancement Division enforces all non-criminal ordinances, codes, and regulations to improve the quality of life for Tampa residents through maintenance efforts of medians and vacant lots. Sal, how are you doing today, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Jamie.
So tell me a little bit more about your background. You were the police department major for the City of Tampa up until 2013?
Yeah, I spent 30 years with the City of Tampa Police Department. I ran police operations for 1/3 of the city until my retirement.
Well, I got to commend you for that. Any and all law enforcement officers, you have my utmost respect and admiration. I mean, I think it's a very underpaid profession for what you do, and so I just want to take a moment to thank yourself and all the officers, the men and women out there serving in law enforcement. So thank you very much for your service to the community. How did you transition out of the police department into your current role as operations manager for the City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Division?
Well, there was a phone call, from the mayor, brought me back to kind of run this operation. He had a vision, At the time, there was 2 separate departments, code enforcement and a division called Clean City. He wanted to merge those and get that one unit into the neighborhoods to handle, all the problems that could arise from, code enforcement issues, accumulation, buildings that need to be painted, right-of-ways that need to be cleaned up, illegal dumping that needs attention, those types of aspects. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I'm a bank-owned property specialist, and we run into your departments a lot. One of the areas of challenges is property maintenance, and these properties unfortunately have sat vacant for many years and stuff. And so when we acquire the properties, they oftentimes are severely overgrown, dilapidated buildings. And so, what are some of the big problems that you see around City of Tampa with regard to property maintenance and some of the ways people can keep their properties in line?
Yeah, the most common problems that we have is like overgrowth, like you mentioned, accumulations in their yards or around their buildings, inoperable vehicles on their properties, things like that. The building needs to be painted. Those are the most prevalent, and those are the most easy to correct.
Right.
Usually, when we cite somebody for that, we give them 21 days to take care of the problem, and 85% people comply at that point.
Very nice. Yeah, I know we deal with overgrowth issues all the time. Also want to take a moment to bring in my other guest, Jim Englert from Yeager & Company. Jim, one expert contributor is out in the lobby, correct? All right, so Jim, if you want to just take a moment to go up front and grab Jim, we'll bring him on the air here in just a minute. But let's go back over here to Sal. So tell me a little bit more about some of your experiences in law enforcement and how that prepped you to get ready for your role in the Neighborhood Enhancement Division these days.
Sure. Well, with the Tampa Police Department, they were very heavily involved in information technology and also, lowering the crime rate. And, in my experience, a lot of these issues, that we're now handling in code enforcement go hand in hand with crime issues. So what I've done is, I've merged this team, and then what I've done is kept close contact with the police department so that we're involved with them as far as if they need something cleaned up or they need I'll give you an example. They had one of the toughest streets in the city is up in Sulphur Springs, and the helicopter was having trouble seeing into this one area where there was a lot of crime being committed. So part of our capabilities is that we have tree trimming capability, and we went in there and we trimmed the trees back so that the police helicopter could see down into this street, and the crime rate went down. Yeah, so those are the things that we're trying to incorporate.
Yeah, and I commend City of Tampa. I mean, I go in and out of the neighborhoods, from the most affluent to the lowest quality, and there's nowhere in the City of Tampa that I'm really fearful to go into. I mean, I think the City of Tampa Police Department is really doing a great job of controlling the crime in our community. So that's a commendation to you and your people.
They're doing a tremendous job, and like I say, we're trying to fit in the code aspect, and I mean, and it's not a sexy thing, code enforcement type thing, but if you look at it and you plug it into what they're trying to do with crime rate, it fits in, and that's where my expertise is.
Gotcha. Looks like we got Jim in studio now. Jim, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
Yeah, I had your assistant Tim here. I thought he was going to fill in for you, but he said, no, Jim's outside there, so I had to make a quick switch there and everything. Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, he's an expert contributor to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, and he's also going to be in here every Thursdays 8:30 for the Remodelers Corner. So, Jim, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your company.
I appreciate it. First of all, I just want to say congratulations on your new show, and we're really excited to be a part of it. So
thank you very much.
Sorry for running late this morning, a 2.5-hour commute from Odessa.
I got to teach you how to drive from up there.
Goodness.
I know the tricks and the shortcuts, because I'm in Lutz, and I get here in about 30 minutes. So out of Odessa, it should add about another 15 roughly, because I think that's what it takes me to get up there. So I know some of that. Did you come down the Veterans?
Yes.
Yeah, no. Get off that. No,
I
the
thought
Veterans,
with the new toll collectors, that I could breeze through it.
No, that's a horrible road. I tell you what, the best road to come down is just come down Florida. Once you get down in the north end of Tampa, stay off 275, come down Florida. It's usually a straight, clear shot. And I probably just gave that tip away to a lot of people. Now it's going to fill up a little bit more. I probably shouldn't have said that. So, but I'm glad you made it in. Yeager and Company, a tremendous company based up in Odessa. They're recipients of the Super Service Award from Angie's List, an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Jim, a third generation member, owner of the company. Tell me a little bit more about the history of your company.
Sure, and I just wanted to say, too, that we just did win the 2014 Angie's List Award in 8 different categories. And so we're real excited about that. And, for the listeners, I think that there is no better place to look for qualified individuals in anything you're doing, remodeling to dentists, to doctors, to any kind of thing that you could possibly need. It is a cost-type product that you have to pay for. It's a one-time fee, but I'll tell you, it's worth its weight in gold. And usually there's offsetting discounts for the different members that join.
Well, congratulations on that award. I was up visiting your company a couple weeks ago, and you've got a tremendous operation. I mean, a beautiful showroom with a great presentation. I mean, your initial focus in the company was on flooring, but you do more than just flooring. You're in remodeling and kitchens. Tell us a little bit more about the depths of your company.
We are importers of hardwood floors. We do all types of floors. That's where our roots are at. And we also, back about, 7 years ago, we started getting involved in all the other trades. We find that people want to have one person that they can do that takes care of a job, whether it's a kitchen or kitchen and floors. And normally there is always more than one scope of work when they're doing remodels. So most important, features of the home, always thinking in terms of resale, would be your kitchen and master bathroom, 2 most critical features in a home. And so we started branching out into these other different trades, making sure that we had qualified individuals that were able to guide the process. We have designers to design. We have brought Tim with me today, who is a structural designer. Most firms, don't employ such as a structural designer. So that means that when you want to move a wall or you want to change around the configuration, that we have somebody that's able to tell that it can be done, and then get it up to the point of permitting and all the different things that are necessary to do the job.
That's a very nice addition. I mean, so if I'm thinking of doing a remodel, you'll send in somebody with actual design abilities, because I myself am a terrible interior designer, and if I call just a local GC, they're going to come in, probably just do what I tell them to do without any input on the design. So your company actually utilizes an interior design specialist or something to kind of give them that independent perspective and also enhance the interior of their property, would you not say?
Right. We definitely want to make it pretty, but we most certainly want to make it right. We want to make sure that we're within the, the law and the correct way of doing a project, so we don't bring problems onto the homeowner or ourselves.
Now, what is the structure of your company? You're a major operation up in Odessa. You're not just a local GC that outsources everything to subcontractors. You have a lot of employees and a lot of people on your staff too, correct?
Yeah, and we have 3 general contractors. So all of our people, it doesn't have one kind of band leader and then you send out a group of subs. Most of our construction work is all done in-house. We continually train, educate, and license individuals. One of our men, Rich, is now a general contractor, state certified. One of our gals that does all the design, Meloni, is in school now for general contracting. She's going to get her license. And we just, believe in educating and making sure that we can go in and do it right. Anybody can do any project. You ask them to come in, they're going to give you a price, they're going to do it. We want to do it right. We want to make sure that it's perfect. We want to be able to maintain our reputation with Angie's List and, the reputation that we have, we need to protect. So
yeah, and I'm sure Sal could attest to the fact of the do-it-yourselfer and the illegal additions and stuff that you see. You want to talk a little bit about that? I mean, when you're doing an addition on your property, you can't just go out there and just start hammering things together, correct?
No, that's correct.
Yeah, briefly tell them a little bit about what they're supposed to do.
Well, the biggest thing is, get a permit and get it on the construction service list and get it inspected. That's the best way to do it, because if you do it without any of that, then you're looking at fines and potentially knocking down all the work that you did.
Yeah, and it's a common problem with the bank properties that I sell. You see some shoddy additions, and you just walk in and you're like, this isn't right. Then we call your office and the other counties and cities and stuff, and they say, yeah, there's a code violation. That structure has to be redone. We see a lot of illegal additions, a lot of roofs that are put on improperly, and yeah, I mean, a lot of times they just have to be taken down and everything. So the importance of involving a general contractor cannot be understated. And Yeager and Company is one of the premier contracting companies and the most recommended one by That Business Show here with Jamie Meloni. And Jim, thank you very much for coming into the studio today again as well. So tell me a little bit more about where the company began 50 plus years ago.
70 actually.
70 plus years now. Out of Philadelphia.
Yep.
Very, very nice.
Started with my grandfather, who actually, it started as a hobby store, hobby shop, and somehow evolved into not just flooring, but aluminum products, storm windows up in that part of the country, and then went into flooring and furniture, and then maintenance, general contracting. Grandfather went on to be the president of RCA for maintenance and had all the different crews and what have you. So the roots are all there. Again, we want to do it right. We don't want to try to do it right. We want to do it right from the start. We have a lot of good things to offer. If you're looking for floors, we have a lot of great offers in floors. Again, we are importers. We have a lot of history in importing floors, and there's just a lot of great values. If you're looking to do remodeling, we'll come in, we'll set up a budget. Again, we'll bring in the right people to be able to tell you what can be done, what can't be done, and try to get to the budget that an individual would have. So.
Very nice, and again, highly recommended by That Business Show. Got to take a quick break, but if you're just tuning in, you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING.
iMortgage Tampa appreciates and supports all veterans and their families. And as a thank you for your service, they have some unique products specifically for veterans. These programs include 100% cash-out loans, renovation loans, and also a VA interest rate reduction loan. Please call them today at 813-523-4908. Again, that's 813-523-4908. Or online, search for iMortgage Tampa. iMortgage NMLS 174457. Equal housing opportunity lender. Programs and eligibility subject to programs and guidelines. In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566.
This report is brought to you by iHeartMedia.
Looking for a way to increase your business? Ever thought about advertising on radio? iHeartMedia can customize a campaign to meet your specific needs. Call 844-BUY-RADIO. That's 844-BUY-RADIO. Or go to iHeartMedia.com.
From the Bright House Network's traffic center in Hudson, US 19 northbound remains closed at New York Avenue. Your alternate is Hudson Avenue to Little Road. Be on the lookout for other serious accidents. Big Bend at 75 and Keene Road right between Gulf to Bay and Giroux Street. 275, still rather heavy on the southbound side from Beers to Slide than from Hillsborough to Himes. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line. 866-545-9595.
The rain should end by lunchtime. Then we'll have partly cloudy skies, and it will be a bit breezy this afternoon with a high of 68. Tonight, clear with a low of 47, and tomorrow, sunny skies, a high of 67.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Currently talk with Sal Ruggiero and Jim Yeager. We'll go back over here to Sal. Now, the mayor has a vision for the city of Tampa, and also the mayor is going to be on my show on February 11th, so please tune in for that. It's going to be a great conversation. But Sal, tell us a little bit more about the vision that the mayor has for the city.
Yeah, the vision for the neighborhoods. He wants to create strong neighborhood leadership and get involvement. And part of that, what he's doing right now, and our administrator Jake Slater is he runs this. It's called the Mayor's Neighborhood University, where he's getting younger folks to apply to become neighborhood leaders, and he's training them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. The second thing is that he's committed to the blighted areas of the city. For example, we're not solid waste, but I have 2 trucks, pretty large dump trucks with cranes that patrol the city and pick up illegal dumping. Mm-hmm. And that's important for some of these blighted areas, because if you don't do that, that stuff is just going to hang out, and it creates a lot of problems, health problems, crime problems, just an overall appearance problems. So that's where he's focusing right now.
Your organization has conducted, many inspections stuff. Tell us a bit more about, the number of inspections that you completed last year and how you go about completing these inspections.
Well, in 2014, the inspectors did 67,338 inspections in the city of Tampa.
Oh, wow.
And that's 37 inspectors, plus we have 5 solid waste inspectors that are cross-trained in the codes that we do. Mm-hmm. So there's 42 right there. That's a pretty hefty workload. And the cases, they don't resolve quickly, because if you see a violation, you have to give time for them to comply. So there's 21 days there, and then if they don't comply, then there's a ticket, mm-hmm. and then if they don't do that, there's another ticket, and then on and on and on to cold board, and then possibly up to criminal court. Mm-hmm. So, and the last aspect with criminal court is it's something that I brought in. If somebody's not doing what we're asking them to do, we have to have a way to force them to do it. And unfortunately, it could, maybe that way is jail time. It's pretty.
I've never seen anybody have to go to jail for a code violation, or is it not? Is it code violations or the illegal dumping? What is something that would land somebody in jail?
It could be illegal dumping. It could be a structural issue where we're telling somebody to do something. The code board's telling them to do something. They're still not doing it. So we have to have a way to get their attention.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, because I deal with banks and stuff, and trying to get these guys to comply with you guys sometimes can be quite a battle. I got a situation going right now where we've had a stagnant pool that's been going on 3 years. Of course, the bank just took possession of it sometime in the last year. To complicate the problem, the plumbing in the home was shot, so we couldn't turn on water to fix the pool. So and it was incurring a $500 a day fine. This was out of Hillsborough County. And finally, the code enforcement was like, listen, you're going to have to do something. So the contractor went in there and did a basic repair to some of the plumbing, but it's still very shoddy just to get that pool up and running. And now I've got to go attend a hearing to try to get these fines reduced. But actually, I just got an email from Hillsborough County Code. They're going to reduce it from $61,000 down to $5,000. So currently negotiating and stuff. But I will tell you, the city of Tampa is much more negotiable than like Hillsborough County is with regard to violations, I have found. Would you say, or what's your input on that?
Well, I know we'll negotiate on some of it. I can't speak for Hillsborough County, but I know that in recent past, we've negotiated some down.
Yeah. So let's go back over to Jim. Let's talk a little bit more about your company. I know you specialize in hardwood flooring and stuff. Tell us a little bit, about the importance of having a general contractor do the installation versus the do-it-yourselfer, so to speak.
Well, the biggest thing again is education. When you get a call and somebody says that they found a floor that's, $6 a square foot installed. There's no way you can put a floor in for $6 a square foot, a hardwood floor anyway, and do it correctly. Biggest issues with hardwood floors are going to be moisture. Moisture is the number one concern. So in order to seal a floor properly and to have it where you have a warranty where no moisture is going to come up through and deteriorate and ruin the floor, it's got to be controlled first for moisture and sealed, and then prepped properly so the floor will lay flat, not necessarily always level. And there's a lot that goes into it. It needs the proper expansion, needs the proper transitions. The transitions need to match the baseboard that's in the home. There's a litany of things that have to be addressed. A lot of the homes pre-78 have to be tested for lead. Most of the contractors out there don't do it. It's $32,000 a day fine if you go in more than 6 square foot that you're working. It's just, it's tough to keep it between the lines, do it the right way sometimes, and compete effectively out there. And it's always, I wish I had all the things that I could record where people said, that I had such and such do it. This is the problem. Every day we see, where things are done wrong, and then they end up having to rip it up and do it the correct way. So
yeah, we see a lot of handymen that want to put down the laminated hardwood flooring themselves. It seems to be like the project that everybody thinks they can do on their own. I mean, it's a simple compared to some of the other projects, but we see a lot of the handyman doing that. But you're stressing the importance of, again, hiring a general contractor, such as yourself, to assist with that. Correct?
Right. So again, there's a lot of licensing needs. We chose to go the direction of getting the max license that we can have. Really, that started with the floors. Because in different counties, like Pinellas County, is a lot different than, probably not different, but more enforced than some of the other counties and what have you. So they check out on our website, Jaeger Flooring. You can see a lot of great products at really good prices, and just rest assured it'll be done correctly as we can say.
And we got about a minute left here or so. Tell us where are you located and a phone number and your websites
it's,
again.
877 Jaegers, pretty easy. Jaegers, like Chuck Yeager, the man that originally broke the sound barrier. We're up in Odessa, in the Trinity area, right off of Route 54. We have a 35,000 square foot building, large showroom, lots of inventory, and quality inventory. We're not selling the stuff that big box do. We're selling what people want today. So love to see them. And Jaeger Flooring on Google it and
every Thursday, and proper route to get into the studio, so we can get a little bit more information from him next week. But Jim, thank you for sticking to the traffic this morning, getting in here this morning to talk with me. And Sal, thank you very much for getting in the studio this morning as well and talk with me. Greatly appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely. And also thank you to Chandila Fernando, bank turnaround specialist, and ghostwriter Karen Rowe for being in the studio today. They're off to the side right now, but thank you all very much. Great conversation. And you can catch more information about my guests today. Just head over to TampaBayRadio.com. There'll be a show recaps, and also their show cards are up on the main page if you want to reach out to them. Again, just head over to TampaBayRadio.com. Got a great guest coming in the morning, Lee Kearney. He is a local real estate investor, and I've been selling real estate for 7+ years, and this guy knows his stuff. I've sold this guy hundreds of properties myself, and he has bought tons of properties from auction and all over the state of Florida. This guy knows real estate. So if you're a real estate investor, you've got to tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. to listen to Lee Kearney. Great conversation that'll be coming up in the morning. And if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Head over to my website, TampaBayRadio.com, and I'll see you all back in here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Have a great day, everybody.